Hello,
Great.
everyone. My name is Charlotte, and I'm delighted to be joined today with Delphine. And we're going to be talking about the wonderful world of job crafting. So, Delphine, we've already had a fantastic chat behind the scenes about your career and your experience of job crafting. But for everyone else listening, perhaps you could tell us a little bit more about your career to date and how you've ended up, I guess, where you are at this moment in time.
Yes, that sounds great. Thanks, Charlotte. I'm super excited to be here to, have this opportunity to talk about job crafting because, yeah, you'll get to know what I've been doing. But so I'm Delphine. I'm currently in Canada. I'm originally from France, and I started, I wanted to go to Canada a decade ago, 10 years ago, to kind of, help with my career, help with my English skills, and a lot of different things. So my background is in finance and accounting. And today is actually a perfect day to talk about job crafting as I'm reflecting on my Canadian journey. I'm currently in a hotel room waiting for my flight to England tomorrow because I'm moving back to Europe with my partner tomorrow. So it's a very, after 10 years, very great time to reflect on that journey and that career that I've been having in Canada. Specifically in the company I worked for for 7 years, which is Toyota in Canada. I've had very good experiences there, and I'm super excited to share that with you today. So that's for me.
Yeah, and such an exciting, albeit a little stressful journey that you're embarking on. Yeah. So tell us then, when do you think you first became aware of the concept of job crafting?
So I actually recently, I think it was in 2021, when I first watched the TED Talk video that Rob did. And at that moment, when I watched this video, it's like a realization moment I had. You know, when you're in therapy, you've done therapy, you have a realization moment of, oh, that is actually a thing. Job crafting is actually a concept. There are studies behind it. It's like, design behind it, everything. And I have been doing that forever, almost like since the start of my career, and especially at Toyota. So that was that moment really of that video where I realized was something. And then since then, once I knew it was a thing, the different types of crafting you can do, it really helped me understand how to apply it and how to really use it to the fullest possible potential. And it helped me being more aware of every single task, at my job and what I was doing. And, oh, do I actually like doing this task, or do I prefer this one, or do I want to do more of this one? So that's truthfully through that TED Talk. So thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah, Rob will be pleased to hear that. And I know that there's other people who've had that same experience of hearing job crafting articulated in that way and having a moment of going, that's what I've been doing. I didn't realize it had a name or that it was a concept.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, when I realized that I wanted to share, so I shared that video to a lot of people. And each time I tried to introduce that to people, and even where I was working, nobody knows about it. It's something that nobody knows, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of people are craving it, and I would love to know about it. So it's a great thing.
Yeah, and part of this is, I guess, us being able to learn from your experience and then sharing those examples wider with people to get a feel of actually what that looks like in practice. Yeah. So could you tell us more then about how you have introduced job crafting into your work, I guess, personally for you, and the role that that's played within the workplace that you've been in?
Yes, so that's so my background is finance and accounting. So usually when you think of accounting, you don't think of job crafting. You have a lot of rules to follow, have some audits to do, make sure you follow the rules. And so it's not something that is natural. But I've always had this feeling inside of me that to stay connected to the purpose of the company, I'm very purpose driven as well. And I always want, to get feel as much engaged as I can when I work, as the best possible, and motivated and all of that, because we spend so many hours at work. I really want to make the best out of those hours, right? So I was always having this thought of, I want to try and do the best I can, given what I love doing, and what I want to do. It's like having the least possible task of I have to do, and the more task of I want to really do those tasks. So I started that when I was pretty much the first year at Toyota, when I started in marketing, helping with the budget, and then into the finance area, because that's where I started. But what I've been doing a lot is relationship crafting at first, because that's something that is natural to me, and I got to know later on that that was one of my strengths as well. So naturally, leading towards relationships. So what I've done for me in finance, for instance, is it was not part of my job description, but scheduling, for instance, one-on-one with people. I want to get to know more of the people in the business side. So when you're in finance, you're or HR or even IT, you are supporting departments. But I wanted to know more about the business units, the business side of things. So scheduling one-on-one, being more engaged in those meetings, the business meetings, strategy, sales planning meetings, and pretty much asking, can I be, part of these meetings? Which was weird at first, because, someone from finance asking that, it was not common, but why not? Why not? So I get to know a lot about the business. I get to know more about people. And I started, those relationships, and the trust also started. So I've done a lot of that, relation crafting. Another aspect was the task crafting, so which is related to relationship a little bit, but I wanted to know more about strategy and business specifically, coupled with finance as well. So I have this, the skills in finance, but really wanted to know more about strategy and business. So I got more involved in that as well. I wanted to really be a partner for the business units and not just, checking their budget or telling them, no, it's too much money you're asking. It's really partnering with them through from a business point of view, being embedded in what they do, and being more involved. Really is a word, is what I wanted to do, and voicing things and trying to help support them, advise, not having this coach type of mindset. So that was the top of it. Task crafting. I also helped, for instance, with creating reports for sales, which was not necessarily part of my job description, but that's what I've done. And then the third one is skill crafting. So Toyota has a great culture of rotation. So you have a way to, you have the opportunity to be rotated to different departments, but there is also business partnering groups you can join. And what I've done is I joined a group called Women Impacting and Influencing Toyota. And in that type of, in that business partnering group, you're helping the organization with, engagement, motivation, empowerment, especially for women. You're organizing workshops, you're organizing, discussions, panels, stuff like that. So I contributed through that. And that was a way for me to stay more connected to my work and bringing some skills back to finance as well. What I was learning, right, in this, the new skills I was learning helped a lot with my, initial job, if I can say, or the original structure of my job. It helped that job just grow as well, and myself grow. So that's really, really what I've done. And I have to say that one catalyst for that, for me, joining a business partnering group, was a strength assessment that I've done. And I realized that, so I've done the Gallup strength assessment, and my top strengths were almost all related to relationship building. So I tried to look at, what about finance? What about analyticals? Where are those? So that's still part of my strengths, but the top of the top were, empathy and relationship. I'm like, okay, I have to do something about that, right? There's something to be done. So yeah, that's the high level job crafting activities, but there are so many ways to do it. So yeah, that's what I've done.
Yeah, that's super interesting. And that's it, that when you start thinking about those examples, you realize there's loads.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
what I'm hearing in your examples as well is that they all overlap. So this overarching set of strengths that you have around relationship building, maintaining, enhancing, etc., has played into, you know, the rotation work. Like, yes, you built skills from that, but you were also probably doing some benefiting from some relational crafting, and that there's a way in which you're still
Totally.
kind of using your strengths, and all those types of craftings are kind of interweaving with each other. And like you said, the word connected, helping you feel more connected to the business. That's what I hear really strongly in what you said. And ultimately that's presumably been helpful for you and for the business as well.
Totally. That's for me, for the business, but also actually for the team and people around you as well. Because I realized that by doing that, I was a bit selfish of me, but not selfish, but I really wanted to stay connected myself. And then I realized that it inspired others to do the same thing. And at first, and maybe in the finance area, you know, you're not supposed to do, or it's not something you think of to do something else that's your job description. But then they were asking, "Oh, why are you doing this? Oh, interesting." And I probably inspired others to try different things and also maybe have more meaning with the business, or even moving to a business department and get to learn more about it. It's more like the job crafting concept also helps expanding yourself, expanding others, expanding possibilities, and realizing that you're capable of so many things that you would not have imagined in the first place. And I was telling you today, right? I'm in the hotel room, thinking of my 10-year journey in Canada and my mindset when I started versus my mindset today after 7 years of job crafting, or even 10 years, is totally different. Like today, what I'm capable of doing and what I believe I'm capable of doing is so much different and you know, bigger than when I started 10 years ago, when I had this, you know, goal of, okay, I'll do finance, I'll do this. But now I'm like, oh, I can do all this. And it's about choosing what I want to do, right?
So there's something that happened there in terms of, I guess, broadening the way that you thought about your work and what you were able to do, that took you beyond your job description on paper to actually other opportunities, but maybe also using your strengths in the way that you do your work. So you could still do your finance work, but you might do it through your relator strengths, which means that you might do it in a different way to how other people might do the same job.
Totally. And that benefits the finance department, you know, right? That benefits it because you come into work more engaged, more motivated, and you inspire others. And I could see even in the finance department, other people wanted to do that and did it different ways, right? And I truly felt that there's some people crave it, like they need that, right, to feel better at work. And I have example of other people in finance, so for instance, starting a team channel, or, you know, a team channel where they were posting things about the finance department, get to know us, or even starting kind of a channel where we portray different roles within the organization to get to know different roles, to get to network. So I could see people trying different things, and, you know, to stay more connected. So it was amazing to see. And I totally see the potential of, you know, having a job crafting being more known and, you know, applied to the workplace for sure. So
So when you had recognized job crafting in yourself and then you were looking for it, and perhaps you paved the way for some people as well, actually you noticed people engaging in more types of those behaviors, and part of that is when you know what it is and there is some education around it and you're supported to be able to do that, perhaps the organization plays a role in encouraging that type of autonomy and that type of behavior. Actually, you've seen people in finance engaging in job crafting in a way that perhaps might not be expected or might not be typical.
Exactly. And then it's a good thing you're, you know, thinking of the management and how it's perceived, and are there any challenges with that, right? So I had probably luck as well, a bit of luck in terms of having great leaders as well. but in terms of implementing, it's really about it has to come from yourself. It has to start within yourself. It's not something that someone will tell you to do. And so when you start with yourself, what motivates you, why you want to do it, and coupled with your strengths awareness. So self-awareness is also very important. Once you become aware of yourself, you're more confident naturally because you know your strengths, right? And nobody can take your strengths away. These are your strengths. Is your unique self is, unique set of strengths. So once you know that, you're more confident, and you start conversation with your manager in a more confident way as well. Knowing yourself, knowing how you can be more effective at work, proactive, and obviously managers are not saying no to that. It's impossible to say no to that, right? So they would try and accommodate it, and just, yeah, it makes total sense. Makes total sense to do that. But and maybe one of the challenge would be to get job crafting being known better and at a broader scale as well when we want to implement that in an overall organization, but also kind of articulating the benefits of it, right? It's sometimes if we maybe say job crafting, people might think, oh, is it just a one-time thing and that's it? Or I just tweak one task and, it's done. But it's a mindset almost. It's not just, you tweak a task. It's really a mindset. Because as I was saying, I started in finance and I just broadened my horizon. And by that, you're helping people staying in the company if leaders understand that. So better retention. It's a better path for growth as well. And it optimizes your career path, because I would never have imagined to do what I've been doing, 3 weeks ago at Toyota. Because I've been rotated to business innovation from finance, which is completely different departments. So job crafting helped me get there. And in terms of career growth, it's just amazing opportunity. And then people will feel better at work, well-being, right? And the employee experience will be better. Where I was in business innovation, we talked a lot about customer experience and the fact that personalization will be key and is key already, but people love personalized experiences and services and products. And I believe it's the same for employee experience. I'm sure that, we all crave personalization in our work. So yeah. That's
yeah. And I completely agree. And that's some of the messaging that we share at Taylor Thinking, is that you're regularly invited to personalize, let's say, the products that you buy and the things that we own. But our jobs often are a huge part of our world. Are we offered the same level of personalization? What happens if we ask people, give them the choices to personalize their jobs? What would they do with them? What would they change? And for the most part, I find that people have a response to that. If I say, if you could change your job, if you could make it 1% better, usually people have a sense of what they would quite like to do, but maybe they've not been asked a question. Maybe they don't feel as though they've got that permission. Maybe they've thought, well, we don't do that here. And what I'm hearing from you is that it gives people, job crafting gives people the confidence to be able to ask those questions and have those conversations with their managers. In certain workplaces, actually, maybe we value that level of personalization and autonomy more, but there's spaces where we might not have thought about job crafting where actually it has a real part to play now and in the future.
Totally. Yeah, I totally believe in that. And I'll just take on that word, the future is, I do believe that we're talking a lot about AI these days, right? And the fear is around AI as well, in terms of, taking some of the jobs and some of the transactional jobs and maybe others. But I think job crafting is a very good way of humanizing the workplace and being as human as possible in the workplace, and kind of guarding the humanity in the workplace. So it's such it's a way to express yourself. It's a way to express yourself the best at work. And what I realized, some benefits from job crafting is I feel like a bigger person, like I expanded. And as you were saying, when you start job, you don't know where you'll go. Like you just need to start. And you know, if I have one advice for people is you don't have to revolutionize your job. It's not about thinking through how to change your job or something. It's starting something, just one thing. Doesn't have to be big. But then it's having this mindset, and the more you craft, the more you do it, the more you have opportunities and the more you'll do other things. But you just don't know when you start. But it helps with your curiosity as well. It helps, as you were saying, right? Being confident, having those conversations, but also curious. And if you show curiosity is great. And you never know when you start reaching out to people. You never know what can happen. That's why I love relationships. You never know what can happen. You can have a conversation and it can lead to different things. So yeah.
Yeah. It's like the never-ending gift.
Yeah,
of
never-ending
approaching
gift.
things in that way, isn't it? That you don't quite know. And like you said, when you start job crafting, you just take that first step. It then opens up more opportunities to job craft almost, and the world becomes, like I say, a little bit bigger, and opportunities feel maybe broader or more plentiful than they might have done before. And as a result, you have a choice whether you grow into those or whether you're happy where you are, I guess. But you've really lent into those opportunities and been curious and probably been quite brave in the opportunities that you've explored, but you've not always known at the beginning where it's going to take you. And that sounds super exciting.
Yeah, totally. And you're right. Like, it's not like everyone wants to do that. Anyways, like it's okay. Like some people are okay with what they do, and it's great. And you know, if you know that it's actually something you want to do, you'll feel just better, just knowing it, just having that thought process of, oh yeah, actually I love my job. Like this task, you know, brings me energy every day, or I'm excited about them and I feel lucky and grateful about that. So it's totally fine, but it's like a tool, job crafting being a tool to be aware of, you know, either you're in a great spot or maybe you're not in a great spot, and trying to change that and be realizing that, oh, I should maybe do something else. And, you know, it's just a great awareness realization tool.
Yeah.
And a way to apply your strengths, right?
Yes. And I love that you've mentioned strengths.
Yeah.
Because I personally see a really strong link between job crafting and strengths in terms of using your strengths to craft your career and craft your job, and perhaps understanding why certain things that we do at work aren't energizing. Well, perhaps that's because it doesn't play to our strengths. So is there more we can do to utilize our strengths at work and less of the stuff that really drains our energy, because perhaps maybe we need to do it, but it really doesn't play to our strengths? Can we look at those tasks differently? Can we delegate? Can we work with other people when we do them? But even just having the language of strengths can be really powerful for understanding ourselves and our work and our engagement with our work, and also being able to use that language with other people, but ultimately to be able to find ways to job craft. If you just looked at your strengths, I imagine you'd find lots of ways to job craft that fundamentally just stem from having that report or that assessment or that conversation about strengths.
Yeah, it's a great point about strengths, and I think that's the essence of it, right? It starts with it, and then job crafting is a delivery mechanism of most of your strengths. But once you know your strengths, it's almost like I had like a freedom type of feeling, where sometimes you feel you don't fit to a job, or you don't fit to somewhere, you don't fit to a job description, and then, you know, as a human being, you naturally think, I'm not good, or I'm not good enough, or, you know, and when you realize you have all of these strengths, actually, it helps you make better decisions, and it also helps you doing the job you have to do, because in reality we have to do certain things, right? It's not like we do what we want all the time, but even with you have to do, you can apply those strengths to that.
Yeah.
And position it differently, right? And be in a better place with that. And you're right, like, it's once you know your strengths, the very powerful thing is to know other strengths too on your team. And I found that we actually did an assessment in finance, not through Gallup, but another assessment, I don't know, SDI, I think, SDI, core SDI. And understanding other people's strengths were just amazing. Just knowing, oh, this person is actually good at this and that, so maybe I can partner with this person to do that job that I have to do that don't want to do, or it's difficult to do, and this person will love doing it. will actually love doing it. So it's just a virtuous, you know, circle of partnering and getting, you know, stuff done, but in a purposeful way, in a way that engages you and makes you feel prouder and more confident. It's just so important after, you know, so many hours at work we're spending. It's such an important thing.
Yeah. Well, you've sold it to me. I'm sold, Delphine. Like
that's
these
great.
benefits, these benefits at a personal level, a team level, an organizational level. I think if you replace job crafting with any other type of intervention and said this is what you can benefit from as a result, people would be running to you to find out what that solution was. But people don't always know what job crafting is, so they're not looking for job crafting as a solution because they don't know that that's power that it can have.
Totally. I would never have looked for it. I randomly saw that video, that TED talk, but now I want to spread it to the world. I would love, you know, to just spread it to everyone and say that's a way. But it starts within yourself. It starts as well, you know, yourself wanting to do something about it. Yourself wanting to be aware. It's not something usually, you know, we have those leadership workshops, or we have those interesting workshops out in the workplace, and it's just, you know, people telling us a bit what to do or advising. But the power with job crafting is if it comes from yourself and you have these awareness moments, you're unstoppable, right? It's like it's something you have inside you. And it's just, that's for me, that's what differentiates for job crafting, and it's really something that is coming from yourself. But it needs a little, you know, education for sure. And
and that's helpful to hear that you've said, you know, there's all these benefits, but one of the challenges is around education and getting the word out there that job crafting exists. Have you experienced any other challenges in terms of your own job crafting or sharing job crafting with other people?
I actually haven't had an actual challenge to, you know, apply it myself, because in my leaders and my managers were understanding of that. And actually part of my job crafting was also to get mentors. And I had wonderful mentors, and that they totally get it. So in that sense, it's easy. When maybe with leaders who don't get it, it's another situation. But then I think I was talking about someone about that, and about job crafting, and I think one of the fear was, but what about the fact that if, you know, I'm in a job and I realize that I'm not good, like my strengths are not aligned to this job, and or my manager will, you know, will see that or something, and they will tell me, oh, you should not be in that job. And well, in that case, it's not something you have to share. That's my opinion. That's something that's for yourself. And it's not an assessment of something you'll share with your manager. So you don't have to, you know, to talk about that necessarily, but it's a way for you to be aware and trying to find other ways to feel more engaged at work and find a solution for yourself. I think it's a gift to know, to be aware. So there may be some fear about that. Some people maybe are not, it's a bit like therapy. You're not very ready to hear certain things sometimes, or you don't want to change, a lot of change. You don't want to take a step to try and change something. It's not easy to do. But if you know, the more you hear about benefits from people, the more, if you're coached to do for that, or advised, or you have a trustful person with you along the way, it's just only benefits. I don't see, you know, I don't see any negative impact of job crafting. And at the end of the day, you're the one deciding if you want to do it or not. You don't have to do it. It's just a wonderful tool for your life, right? Because I was thinking it's almost job crafting. Like I'm almost doing career crafting now. I started baby steps in finance, doing some tasks, different tasks, and then now I joined another department completely different. Now I'll join another company, maybe another type of career. So it's my mindset just expanded. I have a crafting mindset.
Yes,
Thanks
and that's
to that.
opened up options, and it's a gift to be able to explore that, but it's like an invitation rather than expectation, which is something that we often
Yes,
often
exactly.
say, and you can do with that information as you choose. Like you said, it's yours to decide what to do with, but if it opens up choices, then you have options that you might not have had before. And isn't that wonderful? And you might actually, in fact, look back and wish that you've known that sooner. You know, if you do feel stuck in a job, if you have information that allows you to get unstuck, what a gift to have that sooner rather than later, you could argue. Yeah,
Totally.
wonderful.
No, I like this word, invitation. It's very, very, very much like it. Yeah, it's an invitation.
Yeah, I find that people tend to relate to that. Wonderful. So I'm gonna wrap up the conversation by asking you, for anyone out there who's interested in bringing job crafting to life, would you give them any tips or advice?
So it's maybe the first would be to be ready to get to know yourself. Yeah, kind of having this journey within yourself and asking yourself questions about what you like, what you don't like. It's not easy sometimes to actually know that, but don't hesitate as well to be helped, like to ask for help in that journey, like through, you know, tailored thinking. It can be a good coach for that, or any other. Like if you're in an organization, you can have a mentor who can help you with that. Someone you trust. So I think this could be important in that journey, not being by yourself sometimes. Don't, be reassured that nobody can take away your strengths. It's something that is for yourself. It's an invitation to feel even better at work. So you have a unique superpower you can use. And it's just a matter of knowing what it is and how to use it. And then you can start small first, and see how it goes. You just start with something, and maybe it doesn't work. Maybe it doesn't work for you, or you start another thing. So it doesn't have to be a big change at first, and you just start small. And it's like, as for me, it was starting very small, and it became a snowball, like a snowball type of analogy. So yeah, that's what I would say, is ready to get to know yourself, get help, like, coach or a mentor, someone who you trust to help you. And you can start small. You're not obliged to do anything as well. So
yeah,
that's what I would say.
Yeah, a great set of tips there for I think anyone curious about whether this would work for them, or whether they have in fact been doing job crafting already. This is a way to kind of accelerate their existing proactive behaviors. Thank you so much, Delphine.
Thank you.
I've learned so much, even from just this conversation, and I love hearing people talk about their careers, particularly in job crafting, but the way that you kind of come to life as you've been talking about how your experience has been in the past and how you've kind of grown and developed as a professional. So thank you so much for sharing that with me and for everyone else listening to this.
Thank you.
If anyone wants to follow up with you, Delphine, we'll be able to provide perhaps your contact details for people who are interested in learning more about your story or connecting with you. So I'll leave it there and say thank you so much to everyone who might be listening, watching, and hopefully you'll hear from us again.
Yes, that's very good. Thanks so much, Charlotte, for the opportunity, and everyone for listening. Totally would love to, if you have any questions for me, if you want to chat more about it, I would love to do it. Because I'm coming from a space where it's not a natural thing to do. So I know job crafting can be something you can do for any type of job. So I would love to do that. Thanks a lot.
Wonderful. Thanks so much.
Thank you.